GPT and there's just, everything's blowing up around this particular subject. 60 days ago, Jan and I were talking about discussing this on this platform, and quite honestly, it was too new. Most people hadn't even heard about it. Now we're talking about an additional version.
Yeah.
Mark Hitchcock had some wise words here, just kind of talking about the significance of it. Listen to this.
One article I read has a little subheading. It says, how big a deal is ChatGPT? Well, a few days after its launch, more than 1 million people were trying it out. Millions and millions of people now have gotten online and tried this out. Here's a couple of fascinating quotes by Elon Musk. He actually was one of the co-founders of this company called OpenAI before leaving. He said this, ChatGPT is scary good. We're not far from dangerously strong AI or artificial intelligence. Dangerously strong that's going to get into really some scary stuff. Another thing that Elon Musk said about this is fascinating to me. He said, with artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon. Or some translations have the devil. We're summoning the devil or summoning the demon. I think he's saying a lot more there than he realizes. Because this is going to be used by demonic forces in probably all kinds of ways that we could never imagine. Many are saying that this forum here is going to replace some jobs. Computer programmers may not be needed anymore. This can program computers. They won't need people for media planning and buying. It will take that over. Actually, they're saying that some legal functions. ChatGPT passed a law school exam. It also passed an MBA exam. So this technology is astounding in what it can do. Now, here's a fascinating thought about all of this. One person wrote this. People are expressing concerns about AI chatbots replacing or atrophying human intelligence. For example, the chatbot can write an article on any topic efficiently, though not necessarily accurately, within seconds, potentially eliminating the need for a human writer. The chatbot can also write an entire full essay within seconds, making it easier for students to avoid learning or to write properly. This has led to some school districts blocking access to it. Here's another thought. This is astounding. In the next 25 years, AI will evolve to the point where it will know more on an intellectual level than any human being. Now listen to this. In the next 50 or 100 years, an AI might know more than the entire population of the planet put together. So you'll have an artificial intelligence bot here, a robot, that'll know more than all the combined knowledge of all the people on Earth. So how do you access this? Well, you access it by simply, you visit chat.openai.com and you can create an OpenAI account. Anyone can go there and listen to this and ask these questions.
Wow. Now, just today, I asked an IT friend, I said, how are you using this? I mean, it's, basically 60, 90 days out. And he told me, he said he uses it 50 times a day to help write programs for computers. Now, Tom, you said something really powerful. You said, technology is created and people intend it for good, but our human hearts are evil, and Satan uses everything to leverage it with that human evil heart for evil. What's the implications of this?
Evil. You look and fortunately we have the Bible to guide us, and it's just another reminder. You look at everything you see, you have to have a good working knowledge of the Bible. And if you don't, this is one of the best churches you can come to if you're in the area. And so you work through the Bible, and the Bible will keep you from being deceived. Everything else is going to be totally deceptive. But when it comes to the evil of man, we know there's going to be an antichrist. We know there's going to be a false prophet. We know the dark one that's behind these things, but he has his minions here on earth that he's working through. There's lots of people, whether it be Kissinger or Klaus Schwab or Bill Gates or whatever. There's plenty of people, Sam Smith at the Grammys, and you start seeing these things to show you how many people. In fact, Jan and I were talking about that just this week. What still astounds me, I think we were talking about it in the video.
Yeah, we were. I was going to add that.
Yeah.
Well, you had asked me on this video. This was it aired this week. But you had asked me, is there one phenomenon going on today that would indicate we're in the final hours of history? And I said artificial intelligence, because the Antichrist is going to need a tool to track us, well, not us, we're not going to meet the Antichrist, I'm sorry, but to track the left behind crowd. And I think this artificial intelligence, look, it's smarter than human beings. How do you make a mechanical device that's smarter than human beings? But it is. And there is now something ahead of ChatGPT. There's a new program that's smarter than ChatGPT. So in other words, it's escalating in influence and intelligence continually. It's smarter than humans. And I believe this is what the Antichrist will tap into to manage his left-behind kingdom of hell on earth. Yeah, he has to use some vehicle. It'll be our AI.
Well, chat was 3 days old, and everyone was talking about it. Dr. Hitchcock mentioned, 1 million people jumped on it. And so I was trying different things to see how powerful it was. And one of the things I did was I typed in John 3:16, and I said, write a sermon on that. In 5 seconds, it outlined a sermon better than most of the sermons that were probably preached in Minnesota last week. I was totally blown away at its power. But here's the danger. It's got a bias to it. Why? Because it's a computer. And it only puts out what's put into it. And I want you guys to see this clip and kind of tie this together. Let's just watch this one really quick.
Nate Hockman wrote of his experiences with bias for National Review. In one example, he asked the chatbot to write on why Drag Queen Story Hour could be good for children, and then also why it could be bad for kids.
The good for children line, you got a very long story with, specific anecdotes about a drag queen named Glitter teaching, children the value of tolerance and inclusion, et cetera, et cetera. When you change the word to bad and ask ChatGPT to give you maybe any examples of why there might be concerns about Drag Queen Story Hour for children, again, you got the kind of standard progressive, there are no concerns that are legitimate.
The ChatGPT website does offer a disclaimer that it may occasionally produce harmful instructions or biased content. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman tweeted, "There will be more challenges like bias. We don't want ChatGPT to be pro or against any politics by default, but if you want either, then it should be for you. Working on this now."
Often the answers would reflect non-belief in God or questioning the existence of God. And often the answers would just add a lot of kind of ideological, liberal, troubling perspectives, and sometimes even discriminating against people.
So if it questions the existence of God, which kingdom is using it?
Mm-hmm. Great. And yeah, you look at that, and the devil just throws out just like that, just out a little bit, right? With Eve in the Garden of Eden. Did God really say that? All needs a little bit of doubt. With ChatGPT, I look at it and think there's some real dynamics that will develop. And Zuckerberg says Meta has technology. ChatGPT is nothing compared to what we got. But some of that might be hyperbole. But whatever it is, the devil is, just as Jan was saying, Antichrist is going to have to seem omnipresent, omniscient. He's going to have, and tools like this, with all of the databases and everything else, are going to cause Antichrist to seem like he is everywhere. Because Satan, Isaiah 14, he wants to be like God. Yeah. Technology gives him the ability to appear to be God, but it's lying wonders is what it is. But he wants to get to that. Yeah. And so you look at that, and another thing just with the bias is, I believe it is a short amount of time before, whether it's ChatGPT or whatever else is coming, that will be accepted as the word. And it'll have things about the Bible, well, yes, but 1,500 years ago with that historical count we now know was wrong. So actually this we've discovered. Well, at the time of Jesus, that was misinterpreted and it'll have all these things. And that will become the word, and the Bible itself will become misinformation. It'll become illegal.
And so when you combine those two video clips, intellectual capacity decreases because we're not reading original documents, we're not understanding history, we're not processing that, we're deferring to AI to interpret all of that right on our behalf when we're in college and so forth. And then the bias, the attack, and let's face it, if you get someone who can spin the right words, the deception takes place, right? Critical thinking skills are what's going to be attacked. Now, Jan